With the most local news, Fox 17 News at 6 starts right now.
2 cars have been shot up. There's 3 people in 1 car, and 1 guy is not moving.
And then I heard it hit the siding, and that's when I looked out the back window and saw our car just speeding off. And then I looked up the front, and there was a woman laying on the ground right next to a truck.
Hi, we're on Business 94. We passed the Kia dealership, and we just passed with somebody shooting a gun at 2 people lying on the ground.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Christian Frank.
And I'm Janice Allen, in for Michelle DeSalms. Those 911 calls, a stark reminder, of course, of the horrific events that happened more than 2 months ago now.
Today, the Uber driver accused of rolling through Kalamazoo, shooting people at random, was in court.
We have team coverage today. Fox 17's Dana Chiklis and Lauren Edwards, both in Kalamazoo, covering Jason Dalton's competency hearing. First, we'll go out live to Lauren. She was in court when the judge made the decision that Dalton is, in fact, competent to stand trial. Lauren?
Christian and Janice, the courtroom fell silent as soon as Jason Dalton walked in, as everyone, including the victim's family, saw for the first time in person the man accused of the Kalamazoo shootings. The competency hearing began as scheduled just minutes after 11 a.m. today at the Kalamazoo County Courthouse. Jason Dalton sat motionless in an orange jumpsuit as court proceedings began. Dalton is accused of shooting and killing 6 people and critically wounding 2 others during the shootings in February. Weeks later, he was ordered to undergo a competency examination to see if he's mentally capable of understanding what's going on during court. Today, the judge, she delivered her ruling.
Based on the court's review of the competency evaluation, the court finds as follows. Mr. Dalton understands the nature of the charges against him. Mr. Dalton understands the potential penalties if convicted of these crimes. Mr. Dalton is able to assist his attorney in defending this case. The defendant is competent to stand trial, and this case will proceed on to the next stage of the criminal process, that being the scheduling of the preliminary examination.
Dalton's preliminary hearing is scheduled for next month, and the Smith family of Richard and Tyler Smith, they were in attendance today as well, and by the end they were visibly moved, as today was a very hard day for them to get through. Live in Kalamazoo, Lauren Edwards, Fox 17 News.
Lauren, thanks for that. Fox 17's Dana Chiklis also in court for that hearing today.
She's live outside of the courthouse now after speaking with the prosecutor about the next steps in this case.
Kalamazoo County Prosecutor Jeff Getting tells us he feels this competency hearing was an appropriate step in this case, but he made it clear that they are focused on getting a conviction. Listen to him say earlier on the steps addressing us right here that there will be no plea deal given in this case.
There won't be any plea agreements in this case, but Mr. Dalton is free to plead guilty at any time he wants.
Looking ahead to Dalton's next court date, his preliminary exam, Getting says they plan to call 6 to 8 witnesses and say they're confident with their evidence that they do not plan to admit Dalton's statements he allegedly made to cops. You may remember the lengthy police reports writing Dalton says the Uber app controlled him with bizarre symbols, including a devil's head showing on his phone. That said, Getting did spend time today focusing on the victims and their families. He thanks the communities at large for the overwhelming amount of positive support that we continue to see here. He took this moment to recognize that.
I've been very impressed by everybody involved in this, our survivors, the families of the deceased, by the community as a whole. This, certainly this didn't directly impact all of us in the same way that it impacted our survivors and the families of the deceased. But the community as a whole suffered as a result of this and has really come together to support each other, to support Kalamazoo, to support our families of our victims.
Communities continuing to stand strongly behind the victims and their families. Of course, we have several links up at fox17online.com if you would like to reach out and offer a helping hand. For now, Dalton is expected back in court. That's his preliminary exam, May 20th. We'll be there. In Kalamazoo tonight, Dana Chiklis, Fox 17 News.
Well, certainly a gray and foggy start over parts of West Michigan for this morning, but other areas are starting to see clearing, and it's going to be a very pleasant evening drive. If you're worried about headed out this evening for activities, don't worry. It's going to be partly cloudy to clear, or becoming partly cloudy, and there is no rain in the forecast. Here's a look at the radar and satellite loop. You can see any rain shower activity as developed right along the border, is now moving into Ohio and Indiana away from us, so we're in the clear in terms of that. Here's the clearing line. line, which was moving quickly south during the afternoon, and during the last hour or so, it has kind of slowed down just a little bit. You can see it just through Big Rapids, just to the west of Mount Pleasant, north of Greenville, and then down toward the Holland area. North of that, skies are mainly clear, and south of that, it's taking a little bit longer, and I think that's going to be the case through the evening. Eventually, we will see that drier air coming in from the north. It's just going to take a little bit longer. Look at Muskegon webcam, bright blue sky out there, just a beautiful afternoon. Grand Haven, pretty much the same story, a little bit rougher out on the big lake for today than it has been, but look at Battle Creek, stuck in the low gray clouds right now, and that's where temperatures have been all over the place this afternoon. If you got into some sun, it warmed up pretty nicely. 60 degrees at Muskegon, 61 at Fremont. Spent much of the afternoon in the sun. However, stuck in the low gray clouds, still some fog. 44 currently at South Haven, 45 at Benton Harbor. So quite a difference across the area today. We've got a pretty decent weekend on the way tomorrow. 62 degrees, I think mostly sunny skies. We're going to watch a system on Sunday. The majority of the day is going to be dry. There could be some showers late in the day on Sunday north of 96, but I wouldn't ruin your plans or wouldn't change your plans at this point. We get up to 73, and then showers are likely on Monday. I'll be back to talk about 7-day forecasts next week. Looks kind of active.
Joe, thanks. Authorities saying that 8 people are dead in what appears to be an execution-style killing in Pike County, Ohio.
All the victims are believed to be from the same family. 5 adults and 2 kids were found in 3 different homes. The 8th body was found at another location this afternoon. It's still unclear whether the 8th victim is an adult or child. Police say this is not an active shooter situation, but they also say no arrests have been made in the case. Right now, police are trying to determine the motive and identify all the victims.
I cannot confirm that there is no one still on the loose that may be involved in this. If they are, they will be armed and dangerous. Okay, we're very early in this. We have multiple crime scenes, very horrific crime scene here. So I am not going to rule out the fact that we do not have someone or someones that's out armed and dangerous.
Right now, officials don't believe the shootings are random, but they're trying to figure out if the shooter is alive or among the dead. Several other people, including babies, were alive and taken out of those homes. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort had to be evacuated this morning following 2 bomb threats. It began around 10 last night when the casino got a bomb threat called in. The second one happened about a half an hour later. Officials evacuated the building, shuttling more than 2,500 people to nearby hotels. Crews and K-9 units swept the entire building, eventually giving it the all clear. Police say they have a person of interest. The threats disrupted plans of many guests, something the casino wants to fix by offering vouchers.
Hopefully the vast majority had the opportunity to take it with them, then they can go cash out at a later date. If not, we do have those policies and the staff willing to work with them to make sure that those are honored.
Soaring Eagle reopened just before 10 a.m. That investigation still ongoing.
A man is dead after a crash involving a semi-truck early this morning. The Calhoun County Sheriff's Department saying that the 59-year-old from Washington State was stopped along eastbound I-94 at about 2:15 when the semi hit the car. The eastbound lanes were closed for several hours but reopened just before the morning commute. The investigation isn't over yet, but alcohol is believed to be a factor. The semi was damaged, but the driver was not hurt.
Man in Kalamazoo facing dogfighting charges after officials say several dogs were recovered from his property earlier this year. Kelvin Eric Thomas was arraigned yesterday on 6 counts, including animal fighting, having animal fighting equipment, animal cruelty, and not having vaccinations or licenses for his dogs. 7 pit bull type dogs, 3 Doberman pinschers, all seized from his home back in February. It's not the first time that he's faced dogfighting related charges. He pleaded guilty back in 2012. The Humane Society of the U.S. has assisted Kalamazoo County Animal Services in rescuing the dogs back in February. His YouTube videos confronting suspected child predators in West Michigan have certainly gone viral, and he is speaking publicly for the first time only to Fox 17.
Fox 17's Rebecca Russell sat down with him. She's live in the studio now with more on this. Rebecca?
Well, his name is Zach Swears, and his videos under the profile Anxiety War helped lead to the arrest of 7 men in West Michigan. And I had the chance to ask him what motivated him to do this, but only after he asked us his questions first. Zach posed the question, do you know what's really going on online? It was that same question that prompted him to meet up with these alleged predators, recording the interaction with a secret camera, and the rest was history. He's not afraid to meet up with these people. He thinks it's fun, like a game, and says it's empowering.
It is so fun. It's like the feeling when your favorite team wins the game, just barely at the end. But the buzzer sounds, boom, basket scores, whatever. It's like that feeling, but like more, like talking to the predator, like confronting them. Gotcha. And knowing that they're on video, it's, I don't want to say empowering, but it's fun. It's fun.
Zach hopes his videos encourage victims to speak up and help get these child predators off the streets and get them help. But he says the danger's still out there and doesn't plan on stopping what he's doing anytime soon. In the studio, Rebecca Russell, Fox 17 News.
A downtown restaurant closed tonight after a number of health violations. The Kent County Health Department confirms that XO Asian Cuisine will be closed for at least 7 days for what they call chronic issues of noncompliance with Michigan's food laws. The department says it has been working with the restaurant for a decade to try to fix its long list of issues. In March, they were given 30 days to get things in order, but yesterday they failed another inspection. We'll have more information from the health department tonight at 10.
A big announcement today from Western Michigan University and the Kalamazoo Promise, helping students who want to become teachers. It recently received 2 big donations, $250,000 from an anonymous donor and another $25,000 from a local foundation. That money will be used on a new joint effort between WMU and Kalamazoo Public Schools called the Future Educators Program. Participants will get an extra $5,000 a year for things like teacher certification costs. That's in addition to their tuition scholarship from the Kalamazoo Promise.
They're going to provide extra support to those students, and those students are going to be focused as Kalamazoo Promise and Kalamazoo Public Schools graduates. That extra support is just that extra layer and a community commitment to make sure that students have the things that they need to be successful.
The Promise has been around for 10 years, providing free tuition for college to Kalamazoo Public School students. Today, 25 students from 3 different districts in West Michigan have been promised scholarships. It's part of the Muskegon Public Schools annual Promise program. In its first year, only 14 students received scholarships. Officials say more than $1 million has been raised, and it will fund the first 2 years of the program. In 2017, officials are hoping to offer scholarships for up to 180 students, picked from more schools in the area. The 25 students selected this year have up until May to respond to those offers.
Wow, from 14 to 180, that's quite the jump.
That's a great deal
Let's
for
hope
those
it happens,
kids, right?
yeah.
Amazing. Still ahead, he is called the Dime Dasher because of his unique hobby.
Yeah, this Earth Day, we're going to introduce you to that 11-year-old there, dedicated to saving the planet. That's after the break.
He actually was very funny, very witty.
Across the world, mourning the loss of a pop icon. We're remembering Prince tonight, coming up.
You're watching Fox 17 News.